What's up, y'all? It's your girl Sang, and today we are going to be reacting to TikToks and videos about the crazy teachers that are in the school system nowadays. Well, you know how I always be saying homeschool your kids? It's going to be a great video on why you should homeschool your kids. Let's get into it. Alright, so this video is about a dean in Chicago who apparently gives his students butt plugs and dildos. Yup. Sick.
I had like our LGBTQ plus health center come in. They were passing around butt plugs and dildos to my students, talking about queer sex, using lube versus using spit.
Meet Joe Bruno, Dean of Students at the prestigious Francis W. Parker Private School.
Hold on. I was pressing spacebar like this YouTube. This not YouTube. And it literally started out with him saying that.
Chicago, which happens to charge $40,000 per student.
They're just like passing around dildos.
$40,000 per student. $40,000 per student for some weird adult to give your child butt plugs and dildos and teach you how to have sex with it and sex without it. $40K per student. Imagine what else they teaching your kids behind closed doors. Because the only way they found this out, somebody's kid went home and either told their parents because they were uncomfortable, or the parents that checked the backpacks probably checked the backpack and was like, what the F is this doing in your backpack? And got the story. Because ain't no way. Imagine the kids that didn't say nothing. What else is going on that the kids aren't speaking?
Those butt plugs. The kids are just playing with them. They're like, how does this butt plug work? How does this work? That's a really cool part of my job.
Parents might be stunned to
What?
learn that Bruno's...
He said that's a cool part of his job? He's sick. He's sick. Why would that be cool to give that to kids? Look how little these kids are. He a pedophile. He a groomer. He's sick. He's beyond sick.
version of love and acceptance means handing out sex toys to underage students.
So I've been the dean for 4 years. During Pride, we do a Pride Week every year, and I had like our LGBTQ plus health center come in. They were passing around butt plugs and dildos to my students, talking about queer sex, using lube versus using spit.
Who is this?
This is an LGBTQ plus health center came in to talk to my high school students. They're just like passing around dildos, butt plugs. The kids are just playing with them. They're looking at them.
In the school?
In a classroom.
Wow.
Yeah. While I'm sitting there. Then we had a drag queen come in, pass out
For
cookies
what?
and brownies and do photos.
It's so amazing.
They really trying to indoctrinate the kids. They really are. I don't know what the goal is. Like, you trying to stop population from going up? You trying to scar children? What is the goal with all of this? You want to sleep with the kids?
And everybody's cool with that, like the butt plugs and the dildos. Nobody complains.
No?
I mean, if the parents found out, would they?
No? It's queer sex. This is the drag queen that came in.
Why do you have to talk about this with kids, though? I understand you said they're in high school. Those are still children, though. They're not adults yet. They're not adults.
What's her name?
Alexis Bevels.
Alexis Devil.
I just hung out in my classroom,
And was there?
or hung out in my office.
You have so much freedom, so much wiggle room.
So much freedom, so much money
I mean,
to do stuff.
trustees are okay with that too? They don't know.
They would. It's like I wouldn't even run it by them. Like, why would I run it by them? They would be like, oh my god, that's
Yeah. Because you know why? You know what it is. If you told the trustees what you are doing with your classroom money, they would get rid of you instantly. That's why you're not telling them. Because if you wholeheartedly knew this was correct and right and there's nothing wrong with what you was doing, you would just say it. You'd be like, hey guys, just let you know, I'm about to put some funding into getting butt plugs and dildos for my students, and I'm gonna have a drag queen come in and talk to them. Cool, right? Awesome. That would be you. That would be you. But it's not, because you know what's wrong and messed up. You know what's wrong and messed up. That's like a straight teacher coming in there talking about some, hey guys, so I'm just letting you know, I blew the fun on some porn stars to come in and twerk on the male students, and like I got some male porn stars to show like my female students what it would be like if they were to sit on that black couch. Okay.
Wonderful.
Like how old were the kids with the classroom?
14, 18. They're like, how does
they're
this
kids.
work? How do we do, like,
They're kids.
how does this work?
Right.
So yeah, that's a really like cool part of my job.
Oh, that's the cool
I
part.
don't have to worry about stuff like that. I had like
And that's the cool part, is lying to the people that hired you so you can do this weird stuff with the kids in your class. Gross. And I guarantee you, he probably brainwashed a couple of them kids to the point where, like, if you tried to get him up out of there, if the parents would be like, he's a groomer, he's a pedo, some of them kids would be like, why are they trying to get rid of Mr. Such and Such? He's so cool. He's the best teacher ever. No, bro. No. That's gross. Man, that was the first video. It was so disturbing. It was already disturbing. All right, let me get into the next one. All right, so what you're about to witness, apparently this teacher thinks we should have lower expectations for the black students in class because we deal with trauma and PTSD.
So we now know that trauma just makes it almost infinitely harder to learn when you're a child. And we also now know that systemic racism is essentially an adverse childhood experience. And many researchers qualify systemic racism as an adverse childhood experience, which means that children who are black and brown in our schools are expected to be excellent while suffering from complex PTSD. And on top of that, we're also expecting these students to be excellent in a space that is actively hostile to them, their way of being, who they are as people, their history, their ancestors, everything.
Wow. So basically, we should just get a pass because she got white guilt. That's essentially all this is. She got white guilt, so we should be able to do whatever we want. And she's calling our upbringings and childhood systematic racism. Let me scoot in for you. I wonder what you think about all the races. So when your Chinese student isn't doing well, what's up with that? What's the cause for that if they're not doing well? Because they're stereotyping. They're so smart and they should know everything, right? The white kids that didn't go through that, they got to be held at like the higher standard because, white guilt. I'm sorry, y'all. That's just, how can you say that? Y'all want to know how I grew up? This is so funny. To show how messed up her logic is. Okay, we should get a pass to do it. We shouldn't try. We shouldn't do whatever. It's like me being held at the same standard as everybody else allowed me to go to honors and advanced placement with all the other kids that deserve to be there. I wasn't just handed that there because it's like, oh, you poor little black girl. Oh, I guess you can be up here and then we'll just give you A's because you're in here. That's not how that worked. I had to work for all that just like every other kid had to work for what they worked for. Okay? Going back to the stereotypes, that's why I did the Asian stereotype, because the stereotype is that they're so good at math and they're super smart. Yeah, so like one of the kids in my class was not. My man, he F's and D's. That's all he did. And you know what? Are we going to talk about his home life? Why couldn't he achieve the grades I achieved? Why couldn't he do that? The white kids that couldn't achieve the grades I achieved, why couldn't they do that? Because nothing was handed to me. According to her, she would think my whole upbringing was just handed to me. That's wild. White guilt got a lot of y'all out here tripping. Mega hard. Super hard. That got me about the dumbest thing I heard. But, okay. Alright, whatever. We're going to get to the next video. Alright, we got another one, y'all. There was no caption to go with this, so we're going to find out together. But basically, we can see Jack, so it's a guy, but he has on lipstick and earrings. So, with him being a teacher, probably pronouns or something. Probably.
Hi, I'm Jack. My pronouns are they, them, and I identify
That's wild. The fact I just guessed it. In like within how many seconds? 4 seconds. It took 3 to 4 seconds for this man to be like, my pronouns. This is funny now. This is like, all of this is predictable.
As trans and non-binary. Here are 3.
What did you say? What are you? I'm sorry, I got stuck on laughing at the pronouns.
As trans and non-binary.
Trans and non-binary. Okay. So you're a trans woman with the full beard and mustache and still dressing like a man. Okay.
Here are 3 things you can do to support trans children in your school. Number 1, be a visible trans ally. There are lots of ways to do this, from having trans inclusive flags in your classroom to having trans inclusive storybooks on your bookshelves. Number 2, stop unnecessarily gendering things in your school. This ranges from easy changes, like not grouping children into boys and girls, to not having gendered uniforms.
You know what's so funny about the gender comments that I hear from the alphabet community? They be the main ones that be like, accept us as how we are, and blah, blah, blah. And these things don't mean we're these things, right? But they're also the same ones that'd be like, oh, you're a little girl that likes blue, you must want to be a little boy. It's like, you're a boy that likes Frozen, you must want to be a little girl. You're gendering things to try to place people. But y'all be the main ones talking about we shouldn't be gendering things. It's y'all. Y'all be the ones tripping. Y'all the problem. It don't make no sense.
Consider how excluded trans and especially non-binary children and staff may feel about gendered spaces and policies.
About gendered spaces and policies. Either you're a man or a woman. I don't care what you particularly want to cosplay as. You can be whatever you want. At the end of the day, it's going to be either a man or a woman. Pick one. It's going to be there. It's always going to be there. And if that bothers you, I don't know why that bothers you.
Number 3, teach children about pronouns. What they are,
No.
how we use them.
No. All of that is a joke. We just saw a video where somebody said their pronouns was star and stars. What the F is a star? Y'all can't even explain the pronouns to people when y'all be like, my pronouns is a, er, zer, zim. What does any of that mean? Right? We know what he, she mean. What all that other stuff mean. Y'all can't even explain it. And then y'all get mad when we ask it. It's like, we trying to understand you. You the one making up all this nonsense in your head. What's it mean? You can't even give an example of what any of that
And why
means.
they're important.
They're not.
This allows
They're
trans
not.
people to not be singled out for their pronouns and instead makes pronouns part of the norm. Hi.
No, my man. No, it's not. It really isn't. It really isn't. Let's try to do one more. Let's just do one more and we'll end the video. All right, so this is gonna be the last one for our teacher video on why you should be homeschooling your children, okay? This says a Minnesota second grade teacher was arrested on charges of sexual misconduct, and there's a videos that allegedly show him having students touch his groin area. I promise you, as a parent, he would not be alive. He would not make it home, and if somehow they got him to jail before I got to him, I would figure out somebody in jail to touch this man. Because first of all, prisoners, inmates, whatever you want to call them, they do not like pedos. So they already gonna have a field day with him. But I would find somebody on the inside and be like, hey, I got you on the commissary or whatever if you handle this. Because disgusting. But this is the man right here. As you can see, it says charges. Benson elementary teacher accused of sexual misconduct involving minor students. Says the criminal complaint says a video recording from December 1st, it's a couple days ago, captured the allegations in question. According to the criminal complaint, Ebnet can be seen with 3 different minor boys seated between his legs during the day, all 3 of whom are either 7 or 8 years old. The video shows Roger Ebnet sit up slightly and placing the boy's hand under his groin area while having the students close their eyes and turn away he wouldn't make it. He wouldn't make it. He would. I'm telling you, if that was my child, that man wouldn't make it to a jail cell. I promise you he wouldn't. Charging documents state Ebnet is seen on video with another child sitting between his legs. He places the boy's hands behind the child's bottom and in front of his groin area. Roger continues to squeeze his thighs and make upward movements with his groin toward the child. And there's another video from the 30th, and it shows similar behavior with a third child. He'd have to go. When I tell y'all how fast I'd be at that school, his house, his place of residence, I would find him before the cops found him. Even at the jail, I'd be trying to fight my way up into jail to take him out. Wouldn't happen. And all of this is why you need to homeschool your children. This is why. These teachers out here are sick. And it's messed up because all teachers are not like this. Let me be very clear. All teachers are not like this. We see all the sick ones on TV and media and whatnot. And they ruin it for the rest of y'all that don't be like this. And then on the other side of the fence, the ones that aren't like this, there's a percentage of y'all that are just so liberal and want to push your views on the kids. That's not your job. Your job, whether it's history, English, math, or whatever, that is all you're supposed to be doing. That's all you're supposed to be teaching them. That's all it is. When I was at school, I never knew if my teachers were married or not. It was none of our business. They came in, they was like, hey, today we about to do XYZ, put your books out, get your papers out, whatever it was for the day, right? That's all it was, and that's what it should be. I don't know what's wrong with the teachers of today. They're sick. You got kids, figure out how to homeschool your kids. If you can't, due to financial restrictions, or you might be a single parent or whatever, do some heavy research on whatever school your kid is in, and always have your kid be honest with you about everything. Have them be like, sit down, tell you everything that's going on. If they feel uncomfortable or unsafe, make sure your kid has a cell phone too. Even if it's basic, you can get cell phones like these nowadays for like $30-$40 from the dollar store. Just make sure it's on, active, and they keep it on them at all times, and they are able to reach you in case something wrong and shady is happening. That's all I'm saying. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never saw I drop a video. And until next time, you already know who it is. It's Sang.